So I just realized as I was getting ready to try to go to sleep, that I didn't record your video in advance on Friday like I thought I did. So here we are at 12:40 a.m. Yeah. So here's your video for Monday. We are solving quadratics by factoring, the second day. And this day we will be talking about basically just the pulling out the greatest common factor of a trinomial and using slip and slide as well. So that's what today is all about. You have an Edmodo quiz later. You also, I'm sure some of you, hopefully most of you saw that you have the PrepWorks module, quadratic graphs, due on Sunday, so you have a week to do it. And some of you still haven't turned in your polynomials module. Some of you still haven't completed your Envision. I know Envision was being a little weird today. You waited until the very last minute to do it. Yeah, so today, last minute, once again. I guess it was acting a little weird. So for those of you, I'll say it for the third time, last minute, it's probably not a good idea to wait to the last minute to complete something. Anyways, let's get into this lesson. I think that's all I needed to talk to you about. Also, if I emailed you or messaged you on Edmodo about a yearbook message, please give that to me. Please, please, please. Thank you, Naima, for doing so. All right. So I'm going to go over the examples. I'm going to do some odd questions with you. You guys have an Edmodo quiz based on, I remember now. I wanted to show you the folder. So some of you get a little confused about these folders. Folder. No. This video that I'm doing right now will just be a link. Excuse me, I had the hiccups. Will be at the bottom of this list of folders. If you want to go back and look at the one that we did on Friday, so the first day of factoring, you want to look in week 6 folder, and that's going to be on May 8th. So if you want to watch that one first, I suggest you do that and then come back and watch the video I'm making right now. So, all right. So remember how we factor a trinomial? It's the same exact way, but right now all we have now this equals 0, which means we're solving an equation. So the first thing we always want to do, remember that graphic organizer, is always look for GCF first, no matter what, always, always, always. So in this one, I'm going to look 3, 9, and 12 all have a GCF of 3. So this becomes 3 times x squared plus 3x minus 4 equals 0. We're going to factor this, but leave our GCF outside. So what multiplies to give me -4, but adds to give you +3? That's going to be negative, so +4 and -1. Okay, if you recall from Friday, we have to set each of our factors equal to 0. And in this case, we have 3 factors because there are 3 things being multiplied. So we're going to go like this. So 3 equals 0? Well, no, that doesn't. So there's no solution here. We're going to do x plus 4 equals 0. We're going to do x minus 1 equals 0. So I should have made these little sections bigger, but that's okay. So in this one, you have to subtract 4 on each side, which means x equals -4. To add 1, x equals 1. So our answer would be -4 and 1 with our little braces. Okay, if you're doing the quiz, I'm going to show you real quick the key that you're going to use. This is the curly braces key, okay? So please use these two and not the parentheses, because that would mean you have a coordinate for your answer. This is not a point. These are just 2 x values. So use those 2 keys. All right, so example 2, we're going to look for a GCF. The GCF in this one would be 5. So we have x squared minus 4x, and this is going to be minus 12 equals 0. So 5 times x, we got to do -12, multiply, -4, add. So what should that be? Should be 6 and 2. So -6 and a +2. All right, so 5 does not equal 0. X minus 6 equals 0. All right, so this one's nothing. This doesn't matter. This one we're going to add 6. This one we're going to take away 2. So x equals -2. Answer, 6, -2. All right. So now, what do we do if we cannot take out a greatest common factor? Well, if you recall something called slip and slide, that's going to help us here big time. So we're going to slip the a. Remember what we slipped? We slipped a 2. So in this case, we have x squared plus 3x, and we've got -10 equals 0. We're going to factor this. So we have 5 and 2. X plus 5 times x minus 2. And then now, remember, we've got a slip, factor, divide, reduce, slide. Okay? So now we have to divide by what we slipped, reduce if necessary. This one cannot be, so we're going to slide it up. So we've got 2x plus 5 times x minus 1 equals 0. Now we solve. So 2x plus 5 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0, and we're going to solve. So first we're going to subtract 5 over here. So we get 2x equals 5. We're going to divide by 2. Hopefully you can see that. We get x equals 5 over 2. This one we're just adding 1. So in this problem, I'm going to put our answers are 5 over 2 and 1. So 5 over 2 because we had to add or subtract, we had to subtract 5, so this is -5 over 2. And then we divide by 2 to get that x by itself. Okay, same thing over here. We always check for a GCF first. We cannot, we don't have one. So we're going to slip this 8 over here. Remember, we slipped an 8. So we have x squared minus 22x plus 40. Now we're going to factor. We're going to do x minus 20 times x minus 2. All right, now we're going to divide by 8. Reduce. So 20 over 8, if we can divide them both by 4, becomes, I'm going to erase this, equals 0 because we're going to save that till the end. We've got x minus 5 over 2 times x minus 1 over 4. So this is the reduced version of this. Now we're going to take this and slide it because we can't reduce any further. So now our true equation is going to be 2x minus 5 times 4x minus 1 equals 0. Now we get to solve. So 2x minus 5 equals 0, and 4x minus 1 equals 0. So add 5, divide by 2, that looks familiar. 4x equals 1, divide by 4. So x equals, or our answers, 5 over 2, this time it is positive, and 1 over 4. Okay, so that's how we're going to basically be doing these. Normally, if we were in class, I would do these 4 for you, and then I'd have you work with a partner and go do the rest. Sadly, we are not in class. Sorry to remind you again. I know I have a bad habit of doing that, but I'm going to do the odd numbers. That's not the right page. I'm going to do the odd numbers here. Maybe, if you want, I'll do the odd numbers on homework 6. That's a lot of problems, and I feel like you'll get the hang of it as we go through. I'll do the odd numbers on homework 6. How about that? And you guys can do the lesson from here. So here's homework 6. Guys, if you haven't noticed already, your homework or your Edmodo quiz questions come from the even numbers of the homework. So if I were you, I'd come to office hours to practice them, just saying. All right, odd numbers of homework 6. Number 1, we will always look for a what? Always look for GCF first. That's ugly, but I don't care. Means the same thing. So taking out a 2, we had x squared minus 4x minus 12, 2 times x, and then again we've got negative 6, positive 2, and then we're going to do, well, 2 cannot equal 0, x minus 6 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0. So add 6, answers are 6, negative 2. Okay, this was just a GCF one. Okay, number 3 is also going to be a GCF. Take out a 4, x squared plus 3x plus 2. Okay, 4 times x plus 2 times x plus 1. 4 cannot equal 0. X plus 2 equals 0. And x plus 1. So as you can see, x equals negative 2 and x equals negative 1. Why do I keep writing wrong things? Negative 2, negative 1. Number 5. Okay, cannot take out a GCF here. So this is going to be slip and slide. We're going to slip this 3 over. So this becomes x squared minus 7x minus 18. And you're going to factor. We slipped a 3. So x minus 9 times x plus 2. And then you're going to divide by 3. This one cannot simplify, so it's going to slide up. And this one becomes x minus 3 times 3x plus 2 equals 0. And then we set them both factors equal to 0 and solve. Obviously, this one's going to be 3. And this one, 3x plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 2. 3x equals negative 2. Divide by 3. So we have 3 and negative 2 over 3. Is that answer? Number 7, once again, no GCF. We have to slip and slide. The reason I'm going so fast is because I already taught you how to factor, right? Mainly this whole thing is factoring. The new part is setting everything equal to 0 and solving, because you want to know what makes each factor equal to 0. Now, if you plug in negative 2 to this problem, you get 0. So that is a 0 by definition. If you plug in negative 1 to this same equation, you also get 0. Hence, this is a parabola. So no matter where you have negative 2, negative 1, these are going to be your zeros. Wherever your vertex is, your parabola is going to look like this. It's going to go through the origin. It's going to go through these x-intercepts right here at negative 2 and negative 1. Same thing with this problem. Same thing with this problem. We're looking for none, so no solution. We're looking for 2 solutions, or it could possibly just have 1 solution. All right, so we're going to slip this 4. So we have x squared minus 19x minus 20. X minus 20, x plus 1. We're going to divide by 4. So this one can be reduced into x minus 5. This one cannot, so we're going to slip it. This becomes 4x plus 1. Everything equal to 0, and we have to solve. So x minus 5 equals 0. 4x plus 1 equals 0. So 5 and negative 1/4. All right, so we did 2 greatest commons and 2 slip and slide problems so far. Let's see what the back brings us. This is the back. Oh my God. Okay, number 9, no GCF once again, so this is going to be slip and slide. Slip this 6, we have x squared plus 7x plus 12, x plus 4, x plus 3, and then we're reducing. So this really becomes x plus 2 over 3 times x plus 1 over 2, and then we slide. So 3x plus 2 times 2x plus 1, and then we solve. 3x plus 2 equals 0, and 2x plus 1 equals 0. Kind of know you're going to have a fraction if you're doing a slip and slide. Not all the time, not both factors, but if you've got these guys, and then not divisible by those numbers, you're almost positive to have a fraction. So 3x equals negative 2, and then 2x equals negative 1. So our answers are negative 2/3 and negative 1/2. Again, if you went on Desmos and you graphed this quadratic equation, your x-intercepts, roots, solutions, and zeros would be these two x values. Okay, now what do you do when you get something equal to a number? Well, you've got to subtract this to make it equal to 0. So 3x squared minus 14x minus 5. This is what we factor. So again, there's no common factors to take out, so we're going to slip and slide. So we've got to move on this one, then slip and slide. Okay, we're slipping a 3, so we've got x squared minus 14x minus 15. Okay, so x minus 15, x plus 1, and then we slipped a 3, so we're going to divide both sides by 3, and this now becomes, I'm going to put it over here just because I want to save room. X minus 5 times 3x plus 1. All right, so now x minus 5 equals 0, 3x plus 1 equals 0, x equals 5 on this one, and x equals negative 1/3 on this one. I'm doing this fast, so I know if I make a mistake, one of you guys will tell me. All right, so this one, again, we have to move first, then slip and slide. So now we got to jumble this all around. So if I have an x squared term that's on this side, I want my x squared term to be positive. So I want to move everything over here. I want my x squared term to be positive. So I'm going to add 3x, and I'm going to subtract 8. So I'm going to add 3x and subtract 8. So my polynomial, or my quadratic equation, is going to be 5x squared plus 3x minus 8 equals 0. And this is what I'm factoring. Okay, no greatest common factor, so I have to slip and slide. We're slipping 5. So x squared plus 3x minus 40. Okay, so x, 4 and 10, 20 and 2, 8, obviously 8 and 5. So plus 8 minus 5. We slipped a 5. So we're sliding this. 5x plus 8 times x minus 1. Okay, so 5x plus 8 equals 0, and x minus 1 equals 0. Subtract 8, 5x equals negative 8, divided by 5, and then we're going to add 1, x equals 1. So our answer here, negative 8 over 5 and 1. If there was one I would check, it would be this one. What's that? Okay, y equals 5x squared plus 3x minus 8. Hey, no. So our zeros are negative 1.6 and 1. Well, come to find, negative 1.6 is negative 8 over 5, so we did that one correctly. Okay, very narrow, stretched, because our A is 5, so we know it's going to be stretched. And our vertex is all the way down here at negative 1/3 and negative 8.45. So we wouldn't want to calculate this one by graphing, so it's a good thing that we know how to solve by factoring. Last one. This one is also going to be a move, then slip and slide. So my x squared term is positive over here, so I'm going to move everything to the left. Again, no like term, so I'm just going to rewrite it as 12x squared minus 17x minus 5 equals 0. This is now what we're factoring. So I'm going to slip this 12 over. Oh, this one's going to be fun. X squared minus 17x minus 60 equals 0. Oh, good. 20 and 3. Oh, not as hard as I thought. So x minus 20, x plus 3, and then we slipped a 12. So now we've got to divide by 12 and reduce. So, I like to reduce over here. This becomes x. We're dividing by a 4, so it's minus 5 over 3. And then we're dividing by 3, x plus 1 over 4. And we are able to slide now. This we are solving 3x minus 5 times 4x plus 1. All right, so 3x minus 5 equals 0. 4x plus 1 equals 0. Okay. Okay. We've got 5 over 3 and negative 1/4. Hope this video made you happy. You learned something, because I had a blast. It's a great time. Okay? So make sure you do your quiz. That is going to be the Solve Quadratics by Factoring quiz. And again, use how on earth did you do this already, sir? Anyway, all right, so that's that. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.